going to record it. Okay, welcome everyone to Canvas Exposed. And if you joined late, you didn't get to see my cool graphic that I made. Look at that. Anyways, I really like that guy, that picture. All right, so here I'm just going to show you a lot of cool things in Canvas that you maybe didn't know about, and that'll hopefully help you and your students and save you some time, little tricks. And the first one I want to show you, I wasn't even planning on showing this to you, but I know we're getting a lot of these, they call them global announcements. You see this on my dashboard in Canvas. I have welcome, and then I have this thing about the student ID, and then I have this other announcement here. So these are really kind of crowding our classes, and you might find you have to scroll down on your dashboard to see your classes, and it can get annoying. So I just want you to know that you can get rid of these announcements by just clicking the little X, right? It's just like every sort of computer thing. You click on the X and you can get rid of those announcements. And I know a lot of us might be nervous about getting rid of things and removing them, but I just want to show you that now Canvas gives you this little message, which says you can view dismissed announcements by going into the account and selecting global announcements from the menu. So that's nice. So I can, now I know that, I can do this, close them all out. Now I have my beautiful dashboard with just my classes and no big announcements. If I wanted to refer back to those announcements, maybe there's something on there that I wanted to look at, I can click on my account on the left here in the global navigation. And then you'll see down at the bottom of that list, a little link that takes you back to those global announcements if you wanted to see them, right? But I don't want to see them right now. So there you go. That's a little bonus tip. And next, I want to show you something. I'm going to start something and then we're going to come back to it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into a class. Here's my class that I'm going to use as the demo class. And here I have all of my lecture content. And this is actually an OER business class. And I'm only going to show you the first part of this because it takes a while for it to process. But what I'm going to show you is how to check all of the links in your course to make sure they work. And this is important to do kind of before the class starts. You want to make sure if you're linking to different websites, or if you have videos or even pictures, or even stuff within Canvas. A lot of times if we copy and paste something from a previous Canvas course, that link will work for us because we're the teacher. But if a student clicks on a link that was meant for a previous course, it's going to block that student and it's going to mess with them. So this little tip is going to help you check every single link in your class, which would just be a nightmare if you try to do it on your own manually. So what we're going to do is in the course, you're going to scroll down and you're going to click on settings at the bottom here. So we'll click on settings. And then on the right, you're going to see we have this other list on the right here. And one of the options is validate links in content. And if you've never done this before, I recommend you check it out. So we're going to click on this for this course. And then you get the beautiful blue button. Blue buttons are our friends here. So we're going to click on this. And it just tells you what it does. I love how it just tells you what it does. We can all take a lesson from Canvas here. The course link validator searches course content for invalid or unreachable links and images. Isn't that great? That's how we got to design our courses, by the way, for our students. Make it as clear as possible. So I'm going to click that blue button. And again, this is going to take a while, so we'll come back to that one. And we'll let that one cook. All right, so now I've opened up a new dashboard here. And the next thing I want to show you, and I'll go back into my course, is how to switch to the new rich content editor. And for many of us, we're still on the old editor, and I'll show you. I'm going to click on this page here that I haven't really added anything to. And I'm going to click on edit. And then here's the rich content editor. It's this little box here with all the tools, right? And we love this thing. It's pretty useful. However, and this has happened recently to some instructor friend of mine, he spent all night composing on this thing, and he somehow didn't click save, or he left the page, or he clicked X, he clicked the wrong thing basically, and he lost hours and hours of work, and it was awful. And then if you switch to the new rich content editor, it actually automatically saves your work. So even if you leave and come back, you'll get a little message when you come back saying you have content that you previously made, and it'll give you a little button. I'll show that to you. And another reason I like the new rich content editor is because depending on the size of your screen, for a lot of us, if our screen's a little bit too small, you're going to see, I want you to look at this tool here, this all-important tool, which is the check accessibility tool, which I hope all of you are using. And that scans your content that you've made for accessibility issues. But if your screen's too small, it's gone. Where'd it go? And not just that, other tools can disappear depending on the size of your screen, right? The good news when you switch to the new rich content editor, this little check accessibility is always visible, and it's at the bottom of your box here. So if it's right there, so you can get in the habit of composing your content and then clicking that because it's in the bottom right corner, and then clicking save. Or even if you don't click save, you might get rescued. So to switch to that new editor, here's what we're going to do. In your course, you're going to have to do this in each course if you have multiple courses. You're again going to go down that list and click on settings. Okay. And up at the top, you have these tabs here. And the one you're going to look for is the fourth one, or the fifth one, which is feature options. So we're going to click on feature options. And then you're going to scroll down this intimidating list of things, and you're going to look for RCE enhancements. And I am going to close my window because someone just decided to do some construction outside my window. Hold on. Okay. I'm back, everyone. All right, so now let me click on this little switch. Okay, you see that? Now it's green. And I also want you to notice one other thing. You see how it says RCE Autosave? That one is already on. So our fine folks at the district know that, yeah, we want everything to autosave. So if you turn this switch on, this one is automatically going to be on for you. And this might save you. So now I've switched it on. I can go back to anywhere where you would see that editor. So if I went to the syllabus, for instance, here's the syllabus. If I click edit, you'll notice it's a little different now, right? The tools look a little different. They're still, they're still okay if you leave your mouse over top of the thing, it tells you what it is. I know it's really hard to see, but basically it gives me a little underline, this and that. And, oh, I had a question here. Can you undo in the RCE? Let's find out. Hello. Oops. Okay. All right, so I'm going to try to undo. Yep, you can undo if you hit Control Z or Command Z. Redo, I don't know if we can redo. I don't think you can redo, but I could be wrong on that. If you want the original version, you can just leave it as is, or you can always switch this off if you don't like it. But I like it. There's a few differences. We used to have the V for video, now it's going to be this plug here. That's the new, where we see all of our good old videos and stuff. Here's Films on Demand and TED Talks and YouTube and all of that. All right, but I'd like this for that simple reason that if I type something in here and then I leave the page, here is my syllabus. Oop, and now my dog is going nuts, of course. And then if I forget to click that save button, maybe I go to an announcement and then I'm like, oh no, I just messed up. If I go back to syllabus and click edit, look at that. Look at that, it worked. Auto-saved content exists. And if I want to look at it, I can click on preview. And there's what I wrote, but I forgot to save. And if I want to put it back in, I click the blue yes button. Wow, I love it when things work that I'm trying to demonstrate in a Zoom meeting. You don't know how many times I've tried to show something and then it, of course, inevitably doesn't work. So you can see the benefit immediately of the rich content, the new rich content editor. And like I said before, that accessibility is right there. That little accessibility checker never leaves, no matter how big or small your screen is. And we can click on that little guy and you can see these balloons. This is what you want if you use that accessibility checker. You want to see that no issues are detected. And if we have time, I'm going to talk a little bit more about the accessibility checkers and stuff. All right. So there's some good feedback here. Does the updated RCE have an embed video function? Ah, good question. It sure does. I think you have to click on this little icon here, which is record upload media. And then if you click on upload record media, you have an embed tab here where you can put the embed code. I know some of us like to use, I like to use the embed code over just the YouTube link. I think it makes it look a little nicer, but again, you can just paste a YouTube link in there, or you can upload videos using the libraries that we have here as well. While we're in this rich content editor, I don't know about you, but when I'm writing a syllabus, I need more space than this. I've never seen a syllabus fit into 3 or 4 sentences, right? So here's a little tip, little Canvas exposed tip, if you will. If you see these little dots, do you see those little dots there? Anytime you see those little dots, think of it as like little bumps that you can put your thumb on and pull down. It's almost like a little grip. It's like, so if we click, if I put my mouse on those dots and click and drag, look at this magic. I feel like one of those as seen on TV guys. Look at that. Isn't that neat? Now I have all this space here where I can breathe and relax and compose. And if I put a picture in here, I'll see the whole picture. It's not going to be cramped. So that's just a little trick to get you some more real estate on your editor, wherever you are in Canvas. All right. And there we go. Image upload. Yes, we have image upload too. Bernice, good question. Right next to that video one is this one, and it looks like a little picture. Okay, that's your image upload. So if you click on that one, you can upload the image, or you can search for an image in course images that you've already uploaded. And I haven't really played around with user images, but let me click it just for fun. Okay, yeah, so I don't know really what that is, but upload images, let's go ahead and try one, why not? And again, you can pick from your computer, you can pick from the Unsplash library, that's just free images, or if you have the image URL, you can use that. I'm just gonna do a quick demo with this, so I'm gonna put an image in of my new nephew, and you can all say "aw" at the same time. There's my little nephew, just fresh out into the world. And then you can see below, we have our little alt text here, and you can describe the image here. Or if you're just putting this in for no reason other than it's cute, you can click that decorative image box, and that'll help your students that have disabilities, that are blind, and they want to like get the meaning from the image without being able to see it. This is how you're going to give your students that experience, by filling in the alt text. Okay. All right. And then you click the blue button, and there it is. And it's gigantic. All right. And again, if you want to make the image smaller, you just click on it and then drag the corners, and you can make it smaller. And another thing I like about the new editor, when you click on an image, you have the image options box that shows, and that lets you change the alt text around and do other things as well. You can mess around with that. And it also does that with links, by the way. So if you wanted to make a link, if you wanted this word to be a link, you can click on link, and you can link within the course, or you can link to an outside website or something. And it's a nice clean view. I really like this new editor. And then, yeah, even if I didn't save it, it would kind of auto save it for me. So there you go, a little bit about that. And next and yes, you can switch between the old and new versions. You can upload a QuickTime from your desktop. Yes, Bernice, you can. All right, so now we'll move on to the next thing, which is something I recommend, and this is how you're going to show recent announcements on your homepage. So when your students, when you're sending out announcements, your announcements will go here in the announcements area in Canvas. They're also going to go to your students' email addresses. Most likely they're not going to open up their student email. As we know, a lot of our students are kind of not into opening their email. So many times these messages are kind of lost unless the student clicks on the word announcement in the class. They're not going to see these. So, and a lot of times they're really important, right? That's why we're creating them and hoping that our students read them. And this way is just a way so whenever the students click on your course, they'll see your recent announcements at the top. And this is really easy to do, but for some reason, Canvas makes it hard to find this option. So again, we're going to go down all the way to the bottom, and we're going to click on Settings in our course. And then up at the top, I'm still on the Feature Options tab, but we're going to move over to the Course Details tab this time. So I'm going to select Course Details, and we're scrolling all the way to the bottom. And then for some reason, Canvas puts it under here, under More Options. So this is why a lot of people don't do this, is because it's hard to find. And as soon as I open up More Options, you'll see one of the first things is Show Recent Announcements on the course homepage. So we're going to check that box. And then here you can choose the number of recent announcements. If you just want the most recent, you can pick 1. If you want 3, you can pick 3, however many you want. And then again, we're going to go down and look for that blue button that says Update Course Details. And now when we click on Home, or if the student just clicks on your course, and here we go. I got really lucky. Oh, I was thinking it wasn't going to work. Look at that. It's just it wants to keep me on my toes here. Now we have recent announcements. Look at that. Look at that. Isn't that great? So now the students, as soon as they click on the course, they're going to see your announcement. So if you have something really important, give it a catchy title like Canvas Exposed, and that'll get some people to click on it. And just so you know, in the old Canvas recently did an update, and you used to be able to just click near the announcement and it would open, but now they make you actually click on the title of the announcement to open it up. But basically, this is what your students would do to read the entire announcement. They could click on the title. Oh, and for some reason, it doesn't like that. I guess Canvas is having some issues right now. But anyways, there you go. That's the recent announcements. And let's see. All right, that's pretty straightforward. So let's show you another cool thing. And I'm going to show you this one. And this is really helpful when you move one class from one semester, from an older semester to a new one. And this is how to quickly change your assignment dates all on one page. And there's actually a couple ways to do this. I'm going to show you this way because it's a little easy, but there is some drawbacks, but I'll talk about those. So basically, if you're moving one class from an old semester to a new semester, in the old days, we had to click on each individual assignment, click on edit, scroll down to where the dates and times are, and then we had to one by one do them. And it would take forever. If you have this many assignments, you can imagine how long that would take and how many extra clicks you'd have to do. So to do this kind of in a more efficient way, if we click on assignments in your course, you go to the right and there's a little 3 dots next to plus assignment in the upper right corner. If we click on those dots, you'll see edit assignment dates. That's the first one. And here, this is pretty recent in Canvas. This is kind of a new thing. And again, Canvas, I think, because we're so close to the start of the semester, I think Canvas is very slow. So now this particular course, I don't have any dates in it because this was one I imported from the Commons, but this is a great place where you can now just quickly click on these calendars, pick the open date, right, and the due date. And if you don't have previous dates in here, that means the open date is going to default to 12 a.m. and the closing date is going to default to 11:59 p.m. So if I'm opening this on Monday and closing it on a week later on Sunday, it'll be Monday at the stroke of midnight and then Sunday right before. There we go. And then of course we can do our available until and match the due date if we want this to actually close, if we don't want students to keep submitting after something. You can also copy and paste these dates if you know a lot of things are going to close on the same week. If you have the chapter 1 assignment and the module 1 assignment, if you have the same dates, you can kind of quickly move down, click in those boxes, and if you know those dates are going to be the same, you can do it that way. There's also a way to shift a whole bunch of dates. So if you had dates from a previous semester and you wanted to shift them to the current semester, there is a way to do that. I'm not going to get into that. That's a little too advanced for my workshop today, but there you go. And so the drawback for this one is it only works for assignments. So if you have announcements that you've imported and those are dated, you'll have to still change those individually. And also, if you want to really control those times when things open and close, if you wanted to change those around, you can't do it in here. I'll just click save right now. So it's saving. And then, yeah, the other way you can do this, and I'm sure some of you know the other way, but it's with the Adjust All app. And to enable that Adjust All app, we can go down to Settings again, if it'll let me. Yeah, I agree. I agree with the comment in the chat. It's about time they added something like this. And then if we click navigation, the navigation tab, and here is also where you would drag and drop and reorder your left course navigation. And you would hide things that you didn't want students to see, right? You could hide them down there by just clicking and dragging. We want to organize this and streamline this for our students as best as possible. We want to make sure that only things that the students need are in this list. And then if we go down to the bottom here, you'll see all of this other stuff. And there might be something in here that you want your students to use. And for that, you have to drag it up into the top box there. But what I'm looking for is adjust all. I actually don't see it in here. Let me try to find it. Oh, I already have it. I already have it enabled. That's why. But if it's not enabled, you have to drag it up here into this area here. And that's how you would enable it. And then you click on save. All right. I'm starting to lose my voice already. That's not good. And now if we click on adjust all, you'll see it does almost the same thing that the other one did in assignments, but it's just a little more robust. And for some that's better. For some they just want the simple one look. But basically, yeah, this one is going to take a while to load. But this one will allow you to do the times. You see how we have 11:59, 12 a.m. This is the one I set in the other one. But you can adjust times in this one, as well as if we can filter by announcements. I can change my announcement dates, which you couldn't do in the other one. So it's going to take that. So here's my announcements. So this is adjust all is nice in that you can change the announcement dates as well. So if I want welcome to the class to go out 8 a.m. on the first day of class, I can save it here. So there you go. There's two. No, and the good question, is adjust all accessible by students? No, it is not. A lot of these things are not accessible for students. They're just for you. So adjust all is one of them. And then Ally Accessibility Report. That's a new awesome feature that we have. This one scans your entire course for accessibility, and it gives you little hints and little symbols next to your images if they're, or your files if there's a problem. But yeah, your students can't see that. So that's for you only. If you ever want to check, right? If you want to check what do my students see, you can go to Student View by clicking on Home and waiting and waiting and taking a deep breath. Okay. And then I think I have this too big here. I'm going to shrink it down. And then you have on the right Student View. Okay. And I encourage, this is another thing that is a good idea to do before you open your class on Monday. Go ahead and click on Student View and click through some of your stuff, some of your modules, and it'll show you if something's there or missing or maybe needs to be published. Maybe you forgot to check something. Student View is a good way to do it. And just as I promised, whoops, I don't know, maybe Student View isn't a good example. Maybe because I'm not a real student, but yeah, students should not be able to see this adjust all. Oh boy. Okay. Here's why. So this is not a, because I'm pretending to be a student, I'm not a real student. It's actually, it's going to show it. But just you'll just have to trust me that your students can't see it and click on it. I guess it doesn't work in Student View. Hey, we needed something to go wrong today. So this is that thing. It's pretty minor.
How about files, Cyrus?
Files?
Yeah, if I upload an image, would students be able to access it readily? Is it visible to them? Or if I use something in my quiz, would that be accessible to them if I put it under files?
So that's a good question. It really depends. So yeah, files, And I kind of treat files like I do pages. So files are where you store uploaded images, even if you don't even know it. Even if you just upload an image into a quiz, or if you upload it into a page, it's actually getting stored in files. And you'll see I have this little eyeball with a line through it. That's because I don't want my students to see my disorganized files. So if this were enabled, this is what students would see, and none of this is meaningful without context, right? It's meaningful if I put it inside of an assignment or inside of a page, but just on its own, it's just a group of folders and some stuff here and PowerPoints, but there's no context to it. So basically, I hide files in that course navigation. I have access because I'm the instructor. Students don't have access. But if I put the file inside of a quiz, which is visible by my students, or inside a module, if I put the PowerPoint inside the module, which is visible to my students, then I can control the context of where that file is seen or how it's seen so that it's more meaningful, right? So I don't want them looking at my messy pages, right? Here's my pages. Look at this. Not good for students to see a big long list of pages with no, we don't know what goes first or what goes last. Canvas just puts them in alphabetical order, right? But if we organize them in a module, then it becomes better. I actually wanted the last page first because that's my welcome agenda, and then so on and so forth. So I encourage you to use modules to organize your files, to organize your pages, to organize your content in general, to build your entire course in modules. And that's going to give your students a couple of benefits. It's going to make things more digestible. So if a student looks at this, they're going to say, oh, I can do this. This is week 1. I have some lecture content, I have a couple assignments, and I have some optional stuff, right? But if you didn't have modules and a student clicked on assignments, they might run for the hills because this is what they're going to see. And they'll be like, oh no, this teacher's crazy. If they expect me to do all of this stuff, you know, and that's when they drop your class and run screaming. So there you go. And good question. You do not lose visibility if you hide files and pages. I thought that it becomes invisible to them. No. So the tool, the Pages tool, becomes invisible, but the actual page itself, you can see this is a module. I have a module, and students can click on the page inside the module, and then they can click next and go to the next thing. So yeah, I always tell instructors, hide anything like this, pages and files, always hide those. But if you're not going to organize your content into a module, then yeah, you don't want to hide pages. But again, if you're not organizing it into a module, then your students really aren't sure where to go and what to do if it's not in a sequence for them. Okay. And yes, as an instructor, you still have access to these things. Okay, is there an option to organize pages like folders? No, not yet, not currently, unfortunately. You could, however, this is a workaround. You could create a module if you wanted to, leave it unpublished, and just call it My Pages, or if you want to organize it by a certain topic, you can do that. So you can see here's a module called Faculty Resources. And this module, actually says, do not publish this module. And that's because this is just for the teacher to read. And this has different things like that. So you can create a module, organize your pages that you want, and then as long as it's not published, your students aren't going to see it. So that's one way to do that. All right. And do you advise to open all modules as we go? Personally, I like to make sure my course is ready to go As long as you have all of your weeks ready to go, and as long as all of your assignments are dated, right? As long as you've done everything, I say publish everything, because students aren't going to be able to get into those assignments until the open date. So what's the harm of them seeing each week and sort of see what's coming up, and even click on things. If I'm a student, I want to read ahead. I like to click on, maybe I'm up at week 5 and another student's back at week 3. I don't see the harm in opening a module early. You know, you're not going to open the final exam early, but you can open your modules early. That's just my personal opinion. Some teachers like to do it 1 week at a time. If you're given your class with no advance notice, right? If you just have a weekend to build it, then yeah, build that first week. Don't panic. Just get that first week ready, okay? And then just try, you just stay one step ahead of the students. So if you have to, you know, if you have to do it by the skin of your teeth, just do it. But in general, if you have time to make everything ready before the class starts, go ahead and publish it. You publish your class a couple days early. Let students see the syllabus. Let them buy the textbook. There's no hard and fast rule that says you can't do that. So, you know, and if you publish your class early, you can actually communicate with your students within Canvas as well. If your class is unpublished, you can't send them a message in your inbox. Your announcements are not going to go to your students if you make them in a class that's not published, okay? So yeah, that's my 2 cents on that subject. All right, yeah. So Nick's got a question there, but I'll try to get to that, Nick. I just want to go back to a few things that I had on my list. And one was how to message students who haven't submitted an assignment. And this is really important in the first week or 2 of the course. If you have students that are lagging behind, maybe they forgot they even signed up for the course, and you know, you want to give them a chance before you drop them. This is a pretty neat feature in the gradebook that I like. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into an actual course. I'm teaching a Canvas intro course. And I'm going to hide the names to protect the innocent here. I'm going to go into my intro course. And what you're going to do is click on grades. That's the first step. But I have to be careful here. So what I'm going to do is I'll zoom in a bit more. And then I'm going to click grades, but I'm going to actually try to hide my students. Let's see if I can do it real quickly. Okay. Let's see if it works. Is it going to work? Come on. All right, here we go. So it's opening up my grade book. I've got their names over here so no one can see who's doing what. And you'll see here's a class. So maybe you have a couple assignments. Maybe this assignment was an introduction discussion, let's say, and this was due in the first week. And you have a lot of these dashes here. And each one of these dashes indicates a student who didn't turn it in, right? That's if they missed it. You also have your grades if you've graded them. And you have a little symbol if they've turned in something that hasn't been graded, okay? Now, I'm not going to actually show you the whole tool because, again, I don't want their names to pop up. But if you put your mouse over the name of the assignment in the grade book, you'll see these 3 dots kind of pop up, right? And if you click on those 3 dots, it's going to give you some options here. And the one I want to show you is the message students who, okay? If we select this, oops, dang it. You can see their names. So sorry for those my poor students. They're all teachers, so hopefully they understand. But and this, by the way, I'm embarrassed, but by the way, this is not due yet. So this is not applicable. These people aren't really missing. But anyways, there you go. this is how you can message students who, and you can choose here, haven't submitted yet, haven't been graded, scored less than, scored more than. So if you want to target a group of students in one of these categories, you can message them, and you can message them all at once. So if they haven't submitted, I can put a little message in the box below. Hey everyone, you know, why haven't you submitted? It was due a while ago. And then click send message, right? And what that's going to do is send an individual message to each person on that list. And then they'll know that, they'll think that I'm just talking to them, even though there's about 12 of them who didn't submit. And you can, you know, threaten to drop them from the class. If you, a little passive aggressive technique that I like to use is I like to say, oh, I see you haven't submitted. There is another course coming up that you can take if this one's inconvenient for you, and actually give them the section number or the link to sign up for that next course, you know. And then usually if they get that link or if they get that message, they're like, oh no, I want to take your course, blah, blah, blah. But it's just a little kick in the pants. If you want to congratulate the ones that did really well, you can click on scored more than, and you can put in a number here. So if it were out of 100, you could click 90. And then everyone that scored more than 90 on this assignment, their names would pop up, and you could send them a message saying, hey, I'm really impressed with your work, blah, blah, blah. It doesn't always have to be a negative thing. You can message students who are doing well or students that are struggling. If they're struggling, you know, you can target those students using this and say, hey, do you need some help? Do you want to reach out to me? We can meet over Zoom privately, and we can work through some of this assignment, something like that. That's just a nice option to communicate to your students and target those groups that might need help. And you can see, I don't want to throw, I feel bad. My class is doing really well. A lot of them are doing really well. So there we go. I'm gonna move that off for now and get out of there so their names are not exposed. All right, talk about Canvas exposed. All right, there we go. So let's see. I wanted to show you that link checker. So let's go back. Remember at the start of this, and I'll just do a quick review. This tool lets you check your entire course for links, and to get to that for good links or bad links. So if you have links to different websites or images, if they've gone bad, this is how you scan your entire class for it. You click on settings, and then over on the right hand side, sorry, I gotta size this a little better for you. Over on the right-hand side, you have this validate links in content button or link. So we did that earlier because it does take a while. And this is what the result is. So this is what you want to see, or you don't want to see, but you want to see it before your students see it. So here is some broken links inside my course that I scanned. And they found 8, and there's external links were unreachable, and it tells you exactly where the problem is. So I have an assignment here where I send my students to a certain website, and according to this scanner, that website's no longer working. So it's much better to check these now than to have your student send you an email and say, oh yeah, that assignment you asked us to do is not working. Same here, there's another assignment, and you can actually click on these links and check. So I'm gonna click on this link. It was in my module 3 assignment. I'm gonna open it in a new tab just so you can see it. And we'll see if that validator works, and check it out. This is what I don't want my students clicking on a link to a resource, and this is where it would take them, page not found, right? And I have 8 of these in here, in that area. So what I would want to do, here's some articles about coffee prices. And this is a business class. So it's talking about a discussion on supply and demand. and there's a link to an article about coffee prices, and that link is, let's see, oh, the page does not exist. So in this case, that discussion is linking to a page inside of a Canvas course, and that page doesn't exist in this course. So again, it's going to show you errors with links within your class and links to external sources. So what you want to do is definitely fix these. So to fix them, it's not too hard. You can click on the actual assignment from here, from the validator. It'll take you straight to that assignment. And then you can find that link. Here's the bad link here, and it's to this award website. So what I would do is I would try to find where that page moves. So I might find the text associated. It's the Baldrige Award website. If I Google that, maybe I can find it. Maybe I can find a website that does work. And sure enough, here's a website. Maybe this is the website. So if I find the replacement link, I can copy it. I can go back to that area where it had the problem, right? And I can edit that link. So I'll click on edit. And find that link here. I'll just take it out. And I would just make this the link. So I could put in the new link, external link. There's the new link updated. And you're basically going to go through, and then there's another bad link there. I'll just take that out and then click save. And then what you're going to want to do is once you've fixed those problems, once you've scanned your class and either replaced it, I can find another article about prices going up or supply and demand. It doesn't have to be this exact article, but you want to make sure that you correct all of these problems. And then once you've done that, you can restart the link validation here. And then hopefully at some point it'll say no links, no broken links found, right? So you're going to fix it that way. All right. So I really think this is a useful feature, this course link validator. And we're almost done. So now a couple little things. We talked briefly about the accessibility checker, right? There's two now. There's one inside Canvas that is going to check your content. And that's this little, it's a person inside of a circle. And if you're on the new rich content editor, it's down here at the bottom. If you're on the old one, it's in this area up here. And what you want to do is often, and if you're copying and pasting your syllabus from a Word document into Canvas, you might be copying, I would suggest copying little sections. So each section, you can scan it, and that's a little less, it's a little easier to fix that way. If you just scan it and then copy and paste some more, scan it again, use this checker. And then also, I wonder if it'll let me take out the alt text. Let's see. No, I don't think it did. Let's see if it'll let me remove this text just as a demo. Yeah, it won't even let me take that text out. So I can't even show you what it would say if it were a bad link. But maybe there's something in a module. Let me look for, okay, and there's a question about Ally accessibility report, correct issues automatically. No, so it might be able to kind of guide you through some of that stuff, but it's not going to fix everything. And here you go. Here's a little example of the Ally accessibility checker. You see those little green, it almost looks like a fuel gauge. And each one of these, so these are PowerPoints in this course. And Ally is checking the PowerPoints for accessibility. And it's giving you these little symbols here. If those were red, then I would know there was a problem. But because they're green, I think I'm good to go. You can always click on that little symbol. And again, students aren't going to see this. But if you click on this symbol or even just put your mouse over it, it'll tell you the accessibility score is high, but you can click on it and it'll open up Ally. And it might offer you some suggestions on improving it. It just says this presentation contains text with insufficient contrast. So that's something I could improve. It says, what this means. If I wanted more information, I could click on what this means on the right and it would tell you, you know. And then also there's a little arrow, why we should care about this. And it's essential for students with color blindness. If you have a poor monitor, the glare can be worse. So it's just, and then of course, for everyone, low contrast is hard to read. So you want your message, you want your material read. If it's hard to read, they're using up their brain power to try to decipher what you've written instead of just absorbing it. So that's some of the reasons why we want to fix it. It's not going to fix your files automatically, unfortunately, Ryan, but it will tell you how to fix it. So if you click on it, on how to fix, it's going to give you directions. And there you go. So you can download the document, fix it, put it back in, and then you'll get a different percentage score. But 99 is pretty good. If it's really up there, you don't need to worry too much about it. But if you have a red or a yellow, you definitely want to check it out, especially if it's an image. But it does let you fix stuff pretty easily. So if I had a bad image, I wish I had an example of a bad image where it would give you the red, and if you click on the red, it actually gives you a place to put in the alt text, for instance. And Diane says, but should still check with Ally in Canvas. Okay. Yeah. And you can run a whole report. If you click on Ally, it'll scan your entire course and it'll tell you everything that's right or wrong with it. And there you go. So I've got 3 things that I need to fix that are very low scoring. And it looks like, you know, so this is kind of an overview. Again, I'm not a real expert at this, but if you click on content, you'll see I have this PDF document that's really bad. I've got a few things in here that need some attention, okay? This image is pretty bad. If I click on that, it'll open up the image and it'll let me fix it, okay? So this one, I don't have a description in there, so I can just put my name in there. Oh, it can't be the same as the file name. Okay. I'll just say that I'm smiling there. All right, and let's see what happens. Oh, now it's 100%. So it's actually pretty easy to fix it. And it's a nice satisfying feeling when you've fixed a lot of the bad stuff in your course for your students.
I thought it was going to say, that's a terrible picture of Cyrus. He's
It's not a taste checker. It's an accessibility checker. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Good. That's funny though. So yeah. So I like Ally. It doesn't make life. It does make it a little easier to fix stuff. The thing that you need to be careful of is you might have a lot of old stuff that you've brought over from previous courses that maybe your students will never see some of this stuff. Okay, in the files, right? So if you want to cut down on the time and effort, you can just go through your course. If you've set it up in modules, I suggest going through your course in modules and looking at the content within the module for those little symbols. So if you have a PowerPoint in here that's giving you that symbol, then you can fix it. Because if you're fixing stuff that students aren't going to see anyways, if it's just like an old, you know, folder full of things that you no longer use, but it's still inside Canvas, you want to fix the stuff that they're going to see first. So if at all, right? You definitely want to fix that first. So So that's my advice for Ally and accessibility in general. Okay. And then I'm going to go back to a question because I think I covered everything. I don't believe it, but I think we covered everything. We have 4 minutes to spare. Okay, question from Carlos. On the tabs on the left, the ones hidden, do we get the option to make them available once there is content in it? Absolutely. And in fact, some of the stuff like assignments or discussions or announcements, you might see those little eyeballs, and we're talking about this course navigation list on the left. You might see one of these little eyeballs up next to announcements, okay? Mm-hmm. Or up next to assignments. And all that means, it doesn't mean that we've hidden these from our students. It means that Canvas, until we actually create and publish one of these items, Canvas isn't going to show it to our students, right? Because I wouldn't want a student to see quizzes if I didn't have a quiz. There's no reason for them to click on quizzes and then ask me like, is there a quiz? Why isn't there a quiz? I have quizzes here, but you know, so Canvas is kind of smart that way. It'll hide things if you haven't created them and published them. But that's a little bit different than actually hiding the tool. And if you hide the tool, students are never going to see that tool, right? Unless you put it back up in that list. So does that make sense? Okay, Carlos has got it. Great.
Thank you.
All right, and yeah, I don't mind if you have to run out. We're almost done. So now I'm just sort of answering some questions. There was a question about word count, I believe, in a submission. I think it does give a word count. I know discussions gives a word count. Let me see here. I'd have to check, but I know when you create something, let's see. If I reply, yeah, there's a little thing at the bottom here that shows the number of words. Okay, so I'm assuming that is also inside of a submission, but I'm not 100% sure. While I'm here, if you ever have questions about stuff, a place to go is to the left, that little help, okay? So I'm gonna do a live demo of the help. So if we click on help, and this is new, by the way, this one at the top, we now have Canvas chat. We didn't have this before. We just had that phone number. Now you have a chat for faculty and a chat for students. So students with Canvas problems can chat instead of calling the number, which is great. But if you scroll to the bottom, you'll see Ask the Community. Okay, get help from a Canvas expert. And I do this all the time. So if we click on this, you can click inside this search all content area right here. And we can just search for word count, see what comes up. And here you go. How do you do a word count on a document submitted from a student in Canvas? Okay, so there's some answers here. Is there a word count when grading submitted assignments? For example, so if you click on these, and if you see the green check, by the way, the green check means that it was answered. So that's what you want to see when you're looking for answers. You want to see that someone answered it correctly. So if you now if I click on it on the forum, it'll say go to solution, solved. So if we click on go to solution, it's going to take us to good old Kona. I see her a lot in this Canvas community. And then here she says, it might not be the answer you want, but she says, the best I can think of is either open it in Word or Google and get a word count from there. So hopefully they've updated this. I know this answer is from 2018, so maybe there is a word count now. that we don't know about, but again, you can do that. You can also click on the word knowledge here up at the top, and you'll see all the guides. So here's the Canvas guide, and you can click on that, and here's all the guides, right? There's a student guide, there's a instructor guide here. So if you want to learn more about a tool, you can do that. I personally like the search because it gives you real people that are talking, not like a manual. Okay, so with that, I think that's it. Oh, can you put a timer so it will open itself on the module? Yes, you can. Good question by Jamie. Okay, so he's asking about the modules and if we can time them to open at a certain time. Absolutely. If you really like I say, my philosophy for my class was I'm opening everything. Not necessarily the assignments, but I'm letting them look at the lecture content early. If your class, if you don't want to overwhelm them, maybe you're like Jamie, you're teaching some advanced math and you just don't want them freaking out by looking at weeks 11, you can control these modules. You can either unpublish them, but then you have to remember to come back and publish them, right? Otherwise your students won't see them. Or what you can do is on the right-hand side, you have those 3 dots, and the ones I'm talking about are the ones that are next to the title of the module. All right, not the ones next to the items here, not these ones, next to the title. And if you click on those, that's going to open up a whole new world of options when it comes to these modules. And you can click on edit, and then you're going to get this kind of page where you can lock until. And if you check that box, you can pick a date when you want this to unlock. So if you want the week 1 to open on week 1, maybe you want to open your course a week early so they can look at the syllabus, but you don't want them to access a module until the first day of class. So everyone's on equal footing. I totally get that. We can pick August 31st. Done. Okay. And then you can click Update Module. You can get really fancy and add requirements if you want. And you can make every single student, if you want them to go through your module in the sequential order, if you don't want them skipping around, you can actually force them to do that with a requirement in this Edit Module Settings. So here I am, I've checked this box here saying they must move through in sequential order, right? But right now I only have the one thing here. You'd have to add each thing in the module. So I want them to first click on the welcome agenda, then I want them to view the required video, then I'm clicking add requirement, then I want them to do the introduction assignment. I don't want them just to view it, I want them to contribute, right? If they don't contribute, they can't move to the next thing. And the next thing is the chapter 1 assignment. I'm gonna let them just view that. And then the next one is the optional videos and resources. And this one, maybe I want that higher up in the sequence. But anyways, you get the idea, right? So students must complete all the requirements in sequential order, and I've added those requirements here. If you just want one requirement, you click on the one, and then they would only have to do one of these things. But then if I click Update Module, now you'll see not only is it going to only open on when I say it's going to open, which is August 31st down here, now it also has a complete all items symbol up there. You will get students asking, if you do this, you're going to get students going, hey, how come I can't click on the assignment? You will get that. And that's because they're not paying attention that they have to go in a certain order. You might have to explain that to some students, right? But there you go. You have a lot of options. All right, so I think that's where we're at the end for now. All right. And I'm sorry if I missed a question. If you have a burning question, go ahead and let me know. But otherwise, I think we're gonna call it, we won't call it a day because I'm sure you have about 5 more of these to go to, but for me, this is going to be it. And I've recorded this, so maybe I'll edit out the part where I expose my students' names and stuff, and then I'll hopefully share it with all of you so you can review some of the stuff we talked about. All right. Other than that, hope you all have a great day, and I think that's it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Cyrus.
You're welcome, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, Cyrus. Good to see you, man.
Good to see all of you.
Bye.
You, Cyrus.